Hey guys, this is the XRP Cowboy. Hey, this is Billy. I just have a quick little message to throw out there. It's pretty basic, probably not worthy of a video, but people keep asking me this question: how to buy this market? Cowboy wants to get into Jim Cramer a little bit. He wants to crawl all up inside Jim Cramer to dirty places and rip his guts out through his poopy hole. You guys, let's get into this. I'm going to show you a few videos. Now, I know you've seen them, but this is important. You got to remember, I've seen this with Warren Buffett. I've seen this with Mr. Wonderful. I've seen this with Jamie Dimon. I've seen this with Jim Cramer too many times, and it's cost me a lot of money. So if you're watching Mad Money, yeah, it's mad, all right. Here we go. Let's start with this first one that I put up. And I don't even know, what's going to be said, but I'm pretty sure this should be derogatory based on the timeline on Bitcoin. But I want you to see that. My dreamers, my roadies. Then we'll get into today's little info. Let's see what's being said.
The total value of crypto market caps is testing the lowest since November. It's a far cry from where we were about a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that remember the 20,000 that was period, but obviously that was the blow off short period. Yeah. These keep going down I had Udi Makati on Thursday last week. Now he's the CEO of CyberArk, 52-week high yesterday, and he is saying, look, here's what's happening with Bitcoin. State-sponsored terrorists and really smart guys are getting into a system of a major public company and using all the electricity to mine a lot of Bitcoin. And I'm thinking this thing has really become like an outlaw currency.
So ultimately what's happening is you can look into his crooked eyes, you guys, and see he's just full of it. He's pretty much talking down Bitcoin, just like Jamie Dimon did, just like they did with the .com, the tech, bubble, all that stuff, because retail got there first and they positioned themselves. These guys always win. The whales don't want to see us swim. When the housing crash happened, you had people that had their homes 50, 60, 70% paid off. I even knew someone that's house was 90% paid off and they lost it. It was foreclosed on and the banks took it from them. Okay, the banks end up with everything. The whales end up with it all. Jamie Dimon, I'm going to fire anyone that buys Bitcoin. But now look, and ultimately, we see this over and over again. It's not illegal, and it should be. And right now, he is talking it down because clearly, eventually he starts buying it. Mr. Wonderful didn't see the value in it either. Just saying, these guys, they're influencers. Don't listen to him. Let's see what else he has to say before I get sick of his face. I hate his face.
And I think the tide has turned against him. So I know I happen to like NVIDIA very much. People didn't like the fact that I talk about my dog too much because I named my dog NVIDIA. But they have a new chip out.
He's clearly lost his mind.
Fast, and I'm waiting for people to realize that NVIDIA is not a play on crypto. I think crypto is going to be very bad for them this quarter.
Is he talking about his dog NVIDIA or the chip? Because at this point, I have no idea.
But they've immunized that, and I think
it was a play
I'm
on
not saying
crypto.
its time has passed, because then it'll be up 3 cents tomorrow, and people say what a hack I am. But there is a notion that the sun seems to be setting in this 6,000, 5,000 foot. Maybe we get back to a level where it actually is, maybe like 800,000.
Okay, we never got to that level. I bet you he wished we did so he could buy it. Now that was August 14, 2018. So he's kicking a lot of people when they're down. Now let's see what's said. Now this is February 9th, 2021. So I'm assuming this is positive.
Before this market opens, and Jim, it does appear that it is going to open down. Is this just a breather? And what do you make of what's happening in the market? And then I'm trying still even a day later. I know we talked about Bitcoin yesterday, but trying to make sense of
Look at his
where
ugly
this is all
face.
headed.
Well, look, I think it's a worldwide. We're catching it here. There's need some more good news. We don't have it. We still want to know about stimulus. The variants, the vaccine variants that we're having trouble with, I think are very much on people's minds. Look, I happen to think that Bitcoin is exciting. It's something we can talk about endlessly. They're promoters of it. There don't seem to be a lot of sellers of it. We're going to hear from PayPal in an analyst meeting coming up about how it's begun to be mainstream. I just think that in the end, you have to have some sort of hedge on it, because if you take it and it goes down, I think that you're going to end up saying, why did I use Bitcoin when I could actually transact in dollars? But as far as a way to be able to have a pastiche of things that you should do your cash with, I'm all for it. I think it's almost irresponsible not to include it. Every treasurer should be going to boards of directors and saying, should we put a small portion of our cash in Bitcoin? It seems to be an interesting way to hedge against the rest of the environment. Nice hedge against fiat currency.
But that's the question. Is it really a hedge, or is it fundamentally actually tied to the
This is the
quote-unquote
important
market right
part.
now? And we've seen when the market's gone down that it's gone down as well.
Well, I believe in gold as a way to hedge. I believe in selling calls against certain stocks as a way to hedge. So I'm much more a-traditional. And so I think that it's just a piece of the puzzle. I don't think the company should invest big. I mean, I think the Tesla put a lot of money in it. I don't have that level of conviction, but I own Bitcoin. I've owned Bitcoin for some time as an alternative. I used to always say, own some gold, own some cash. Now
Well, you were just saying how horrible it was, but I will say he was reasonably responsible in this video. But I just pulled the dates. But during this time frame, we've seen multiple, about him telling his daughter to buy it and everything. Everything's great, right? So, I'm just randomly pulling this stuff up. But still, he is saying it's a hedge.
Now I say own
He's
some
pushing
cash,
it.
own some gold, and own some Bitcoin. It's a little inflated for a day, but there's still plenty of people who think it's going to 100,000. Novogratz was on everywhere saying it's going to go to 100,000. All I know is I think it's an alternative to having a cash position where you make absolutely nothing.
Clearly, 46,000 is much higher than that 800 he predicted, and now he's flipped. But either way, you guys, you're understanding this. Look at it. Look at his face. All right, so now let's hit this video that's been floating around.
I'm a superhero.
I mean, how do these people have a job? They're like weathermen, Oh, Disney, cool. I watch this stuff.
Is the great store of value that can save us from money printing central banks and craven politicians. Oh, then we hear that it's the best.
We hear. Well, you're the one telling us, okay? You're the media. You're the influencer that the whole world's listening to, where people's buying it. You're pushing it at 46K. You're pushing it at 30K, and you're saying you're telling your daughter to buy it. Okay, now you're saying they told us, and I'm, they were wrong. No, you were wrong, Jim. This is your job. This is your life. This is what you do for a living. This is what's made you a wealthy man. But let's keep going. And this is from yesterday.
Best hedge against falling stock prices. But it turns out crypto doesn't hedge you against anything at all. They know nothing. As bad as stocks have been, and they've been real bad.
He is the they.
Including today, where the Dow lost 254 points, S&P declined 0.88%, and the Nasdaq shed 1.32%, capping off the worst first half since 1970. Believe it or not, crypto's been even worse. It leads the stock market down too. It turns out to be it's the proverbial.
That's a lie, just to be clear. And I would argue that crypto, it seems like Bitcoin always moves before the market. So I use that as an indicator. But whether that's, here or there, he's just going against everything he just said. Let's keep it going.
Real tail that wags the dog. Now, I know miserable stock owners love company, but this crypto decline is the mother of all miseries. And I think it's a fitting coda to a horrendous quarter that cryptocurrencies of all kinds are still cascading.
And the last decade, it's been the best performing asset in the world. So, whatever. When something moves, 10,000x. Of course, it's going to have a big pullback, Jim, but we're still at 20K, buddy. You know, come on.
With no real bottom in sight. I'm picking crypto to start tonight. You know, I usually don't do that because it's the opposite of a stable storehold of value, as its promoters always claimed, and for a time I believed. Instead, cryptocurrency is the last bastion of rampant speculation, something that the Federal Reserve is trying to wipe out in order to tame inflation. We know that.
What was that? He is just throwing a bunch of fear and doubt at you. He is saying, now I want you to sell so I can buy like I did in 18. Exact same story.
That last November, the Fed declared war against anything that causes inflation. They stepped up their campaign, but we still got lots of inflation out there. We have wage inflation, retail inflation, commodity.
Well, bottom line, guys, is he is totally, what he's doing is he is trying to twist things. You know, I'm not a big believer in Bitcoin. If you've watched my, I did well, you know, in 18 and everything. But when I saw the truth, the banks will win. There's no down with the banks, and they changed it from a payment to a store value. I knew this wasn't right. And I could smell it in the air that this is not something I want to be invested in. Sometimes I buy it to trade it, but that doesn't mean I like it. It's about money. Point is CNBC has been pushing Bitcoin now for years and years and years and talking down XRP, bringing all these idiots in. And now they're turning their back on Bitcoin. Well, you know, I've got videos on Bitcoin, you know, and how all that plays out. But bottom line is he just talking his book, trying to get the price down again so all of his whale friends can accumulate? Or is, you know, maybe something else going to take the top spot? Is this the beta to the VHS? Is this the MySpace to the Facebook? Is this Napster gone awry? I don't know. But the point of this video, guys, is how do we invest this market? Well, I don't think, you know, anything can happen. Anytime I think crypto's at its bottom, it surprises me. And I've learned the hard way, and I'm going to give the advice I give to all the people I know that want to invest in crypto and they want to know what the bottom's in. You don't know. The whole world thinks it's going to, you know, the economy is going to burn. Okay? Stocks, houses are going to crash. If you look at a long-term trend chart of the housing market pricing, you'll see it's right where it should be. But we're looking at how much it rapidly inflated, you know, over the last few years, 5 years, whatever, and they're basing it off of that. But there's always a longer trend line. So I'm not so certain this market's going to do what everyone thinks it's going to, and it's counterintuitive. You know, when the masses think the market's going this way, and it's any market, it usually goes the other. That's the way the whales want it, and everyone is saying that a recession is coming. I would argue we're already in it. And you know what? Many times when we have been in a recession, we didn't know we were in it until we were out of it, until it was over. That's because the whales are manipulating us with these media whores. And to put it simply, they lie. Don't listen to them. Use your brain. Think for yourself. Use common sense. So how do you trade this market? How do you invest in this market? How do you buy this bottom? We all want high quality problems, okay? I'm assuming everyone's that's watching already owns crypto. So let's break it down, you know, so my 8-year-old daughter could understand this. If you had $100, you know, the downside could be 30%. What if it's 50 more percent? I don't see that, but let's just pretend. You already have some crypto. So if it goes up, you're winning. We want high quality problems. You invest $1 today of that 100, not 50, not 25. And then maybe in a few days or a week or 2 weeks, you invest another $1, whether it's up or down. And, you know, and I have a limit. Like I'm not investing anything after above 40K with if Bitcoin were to go above 40K. Or if this is Bitcoin we're referencing, or XRP, if it's above 40 cents, you know, or like Link, if it's above $20, okay? I'm not. But I'm going to invest $1 every week or every 2 weeks or whatever, you know, and if it goes down, I'm getting it cheaper. If it goes up, spending a little more, but my average cost is going to be solid. And if Bitcoin jumps above 40K or XRP goes above 40 cents or Link goes above $20, I'm done investing. I probably would say I should have invested sooner and more, but it's a high quality problem because what you invested down lowered your average cost if you bought high. But more importantly, your high quality problem is the price went up and you made money. And if it goes down lower, you still have some gas in the tank to buy. You got a high quality problem. Invest slow, be diversified through time. And I would recommend through your utility assets because those are the ones that win. Clearly, there's this narrative that store of value is going to the wayside. Of course, unless they're just trying to buy lower again. Either way, Little Sue's on the up. You walked in just like smoke with a little come on, come on, come on. Can you walk, you come on. I've been waiting, are you waiting? Well, I'm making it. Please like, subscribe. Sorry about the ramble. We all get a little crazy sometimes, don't you think? My dreamers, my roadies.